I am not safe in the hands of these people, especially if the highest in command in the jail doesn't like me. I am in fear of my life. My family is in fear of my life. I cannot do another day here. Someone please help me get moved to another county jail until my trial. Please. This was the statement of YNW Melly, a young Florida rapper who allegedly killed two of his friends and was given the death penalty, which was ultimately dropped in July of last year. But after this year's change in the death penalty law, it now seems he's likely to get sentenced to death. This is his story on death row. Melly was always known to have an alter ego, as he himself has talked about it plenty of times in social media and interviews. But what seemed like a theatrical display for the fans, Melly was actually suffering from multiple personality disorder. Victims of this disorder describe having a different personality that deals with the trauma and does bad things, in this case, Melvin, being a protector of the other personality, Melly. This type of behavior is always connected to traumas in childhood, so it was clear that this was the case for Melly. But soon, this mix of personalities gave birth to an event that would ultimately take the life of two of his closest friends. YNW Melly, whose real name is Jamel Maurice Damons, was born on the 1st of May 1999 in Gifford, Florida. He grew up under the care of his single mother, Jamie Damons King, who raised him without the presence of his father. Jamel's neighborhood was surrounded by drugs, crimes, and terrible living circumstances. The area was filled with antisocial groups, so it's not strange that he ended up being connected with them as well. He did find his escape through music as he grew up idolizing artists like Eminem, Michael Jackson, and Chris Brown. From the age of 5, he began singing, and at the age of 15, he started uploading his original songs on SoundCloud, embracing a style that's laced together with melodically sung vocals and raw raps about violence, crime, sex, money, and the challenging environment he was growing up in. Unlike others, Melly was actually living the life he was rapping about. In 2015, he faced charges of aggravated assault, resulting in a year-long incarceration. In 2017, he violated probation, leading to another period behind bars. The cycle of legal entanglements continued in 2018 when he was arrested for possession of marijuana, possession of weapons or ammunition as a convicted felon, and drug paraphernalia. These incidents served as signals of the more grave troubles that awaited him. So it's not hard to believe that one day his actions would lead him to death row. It was October 26, 2018, when 19-year-old Christopher Thomas Jr. and 21-year-old Anthony Williams were shot and killed in South Florida, according to the Miramar Police Department. They were part of a group of friends that included Melly and Cortland Henry, also known as YNW Bortland. On October 26th, Henry pulled into Memorial Hospital Miramar with the bodies of Thomas and Williams in the passenger seat of a Jeep full of bullet holes. He initially told the police that the two were killed in a drive-by, but later, the police found out that Henry and Melly orchestrated the killings, with Melly pulling the trigger and Henry doing a cover-up. The police found no evidence of shots fired in the location Henry claimed the shooting occurred. There were no reports of gunshots in that area. Cell phone records and surveillance videos showed that an associate lied about Damon's whereabouts before the shooting. They also revealed that the path taken to the hospital did not match Henry's testimony. Forensic evidence at the actual crime scene showed no other vehicles were present at the time of the shooting. Evidence from an autopsy report showed that the shot that killed Williams, who sat in the front right passenger seat, had come from behind and to the left and was fired from less than 3 feet away. So how does this all tie in back to Jamel Damons? Well, the investigators said the evidence showed that prior to entering the hospital, Henry and Damons were driving around for a period of time with the dead bodies in the vehicle in a calculated effort to establish their version of the incident. After the shooting, Melly posted on Instagram saying, "They took my brothers away from me over jealousy. I know you were all watching over me." On February 12th of 2019, Henry was arrested in Texas and extradited to Broward County. Shortly a day after, Jamel posted on Instagram claiming his innocence and later turned himself in to the officials in Broward County. Both were charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. On March 5th, Damons pleaded not guilty to the charges and was slated to be heard in front of a jury. But the state prosecutors filed notice in April of their intent to seek the death penalty. The move was backed by the family of the victims. In the April 18th court filing, prosecutors stated their intent to prove a number of aggravating factors to show that the killings were cruel, committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated way without any moral or legal justification. On May 30th, Damon's attorney, Bradford Cohen, appealed to grant bond with the Broward County Court, but the bond was later denied. Melly's trial date has been pushed many times as both sides argue over the inclusion of evidence and whether the death penalty will be allowed. The death penalty was dropped in July 2022, only to be proposed again 4 months later. So far, his life in jail hasn't been pleasant. On December 12th of 2022, 2 extensive Instagram posts were shared on Melly's account, detailing the challenging circumstances he is facing while awaiting trial for double murder. In one of the captions alongside his mugshot, Melly began by stating, "At this moment, I am officially fearing for my life." He continued to explain that a new captain named Hubert and XO Jenkins had assumed control of the jail for the past 2 weeks, implementing even stricter punishments than their predecessors. Since December 1st, he has been relocated to a unit designed to accommodate 24 inmates. Curiously, he is the sole inmate housed in this vacant unit, deprived of phone privileges, television, and access to newspapers. He believes that he is under constant surveillance, ensuring that he cannot communicate his mistreatment, discrimination, physical threats, and harassment to the outside world. He also said, "Whenever I leave my cell for the designated 1 hour per day, all other inmates in adjacent dorms must return to their cells." He accused deputies and high-ranking personnel from the Broward Sheriff's Office of subjecting him to cruel and unusual treatment. Melly expressed his belief that he has been isolated from the outside world and fears that the next step may involve severe physical assault, similar to the frequent incidents targeting other inmates at the Broward County Main Jail. In a subsequent post, Melly continued to make additional allegations against the jail staff. "I am unable to contact my family or lawyers to inform them I have been beaten or harassed. They falsely claim that my phone privileges have been permanently revoked due to numerous infractions over the past 7 months. This is false. My phone privileges were indefinitely revoked after a single violation, which involved using another inmate's PIN to make a phone call, despite not being allowed to do so. If I had been treated like any other inmate in this facility, my phone privileges would have been restored and my PIN would have been given back after 30 days, as stated in the handbook. However, since May 8, 2022, I have been denied phone privileges and have not been provided with my PIN, even after being here for over a year." He went on to assert that his mistreatment is a result of the influential individuals within the jail harboring a personal vendetta against him. "I have completed all of my disciplinary penalties, so why are my phone privileges still withheld? Why am I the only inmate confined to a unit without any human interaction? Considering the circumstances, I do not feel safe in the custody of these individuals, particularly when the highest-ranking authority in the jail dislikes me. I genuinely fear for my life, and my family shares this concern. I cannot endure another day in this environment. I request someone to assist me in transferring to another county jail until my trial. Please." Melly is definitely suffering the harsh conditions of his actions, and it looks as if it's all leading to his demise. Earlier this year, there's been a change in the death penalty law in Florida, which was signed by Governor DeSantis. It doesn't have to be unanimous anymore. If the jury considers punishment, it doesn't have to be a 12-0 decision. The new statute allows juries to recommend the death sentence with a mere 8-4 vote. As the trial approaches, with the fateful date set for June 20th, the lowered threshold for the death penalty sentence hangs heavily in the air. The origins of this new statute can be traced back to the aftermath of a heart-wrenching tragedy. The Parkland school shooting, orchestrated by Nicholas Cruz, claimed the lives of 17 innocent souls at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in 2018. In a surprising turn of events, a split jury in October 2022 failed to reach a unanimous decision on the death penalty for Cruz. The public outrage could be heard throughout the nation, demanding justice for the victims and a re-evaluation of the judicial system. In response to the clamor for change, DeSantis signed into law the new statute, vowing that proper justice will be served in the state of Florida. The 8-4 vote requirement stands as the lowest threshold in the entire country, which is a step away from the principles of unanimity that traditionally controlled the gravity of such life-altering decisions. The outcome of the trial on June 20th would determine Melly's fate, shaping the legacy of an artist whose potential was tragically overshadowed by the gravity of his legal troubles.